What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to another video at Axe Entertainment. I'm your host, Zack Axe, bringing you my ranking and review of the 2025 Evolution PLE. Now, this was a PLE where I feel like every single match had something for somebody. I feel like every single match on this PLE was either pretty good to very good. I don't think any matches were bad, so even though of course we have to have a match come in at number 7, I don't think any of these matches were particularly bad. I think all of them had something to offer, and we're going to get right into the rankings. I'll of course tell you how I did on my predictions as we go, and what I thought of all the matches and my ranking all at the same time. We're going to start with, in last place at number 7, a match that was still pretty good, but I don't think it necessarily was, the best match of all time. I'm going to bet my and I'm going to give number 7 to Jordynne Grace fighting for the NXT Championship with Jacy Jayne. Now, this match overall just felt a little bit boring. There wasn't like a lot of memorable moments to be had in this match, and I don't think their match on NXT Great American Bash was particularly great either. I don't think either of the matches really necessarily lived up to what they could have, and because I think Jordynne Grace is a phenomenal wrestler, and I think Jacy Jayne is definitely getting better. But I just thought this match was kind of bland for the most part, kind of lacked a lot of cool stuff. I'd say the coolest thing that really happened in this match was the counter from Jordynne Grace into the suplex with Jacy's leg over her head. And then we had the big moment, so of course my NXT Battleground review will come out later, so we're not going to touch on the tag team match, but her tag team partner from the night before, Blake Monroe, turned on Jordynne Grace at the end of this match. We had a bunch of involvement. Is I saying that right? We had a bunch of involvement from every single person in Fatal Influence, and we had some involvement from Blake Monroe trying to, it seemed like, help Jordynne Grace, who asked her to join her at ringside. She of course did, and then they end the match by turning Blake Monroe heel on Jordynne Grace. She hit her with the championship in the back, and that led to Jacy Jayne picking up the win. Now, I think this is a little weird because I did predict that this was going to happen, so I'm 1-0. I predicted that Jacy Jayne was going to win, but I thought she was going to win because we were going to maybe send Jordynne Grace to the main roster and keep Blake Monroe down there to be the new face for Jacy Jayne to fight. Now that we turned Blake Monroe heel, it looks like that probably isn't going to happen, so it looks like Jordynne Grace will most likely be staying in NXT for the foreseeable future, seeing as she's really the only, big main event face right now that's in the NXT Women's Championship picture. So I could see Jordynne Grace staying down there. Blake Monroe probably will be entering a feud, I'm guessing, with Jordynne Grace. Winner will probably end up taking on Jacy Jayne down the line. But overall, I thought this match wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. I thought it was better than middle, but something had to come in at number 7, and it just happened to be this match. At number 6, we have the women's tag team title fatal 4-way between Zaruka, the Judgment Day, the Kabuki Warriors, and Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Now, this match overall is just, I love these kinds of matches because it gets a lot of people on the card. We get to see a lot of people interacting, but also don't like these matches when there's only 2 people in the ring, and that's the style we decided to go with. I think this match would have been better overall if we had instead had 4 women in the ring, so 1 from each team competing, and they can just tag in and out at any time. Yeah, it would have been a little chaotic, but at the same time, this was chaotic. It was hard to even remember who was in the ring half the time this match was going on. It was hard to know who the legal person was. They're constantly just, they're tagging off camera sometimes too, so like even us at home especially couldn't follow this match. So this match was a little bit hard to tell who was in and who was out at multiple times. I think it would have been better if we just had 1 legal member of each team at a time, or even made it a tornado tag team match. I think it would have been better. But overall, the match wasn't great. The match wasn't terrible. We had a couple cool spots. Charlotte Flair had a comeback moment, and the crowd was behind her, which was really weird. So it looks like this whole thing with Alexa is working, and Charlotte made her big comeback and took out like the whole field. Zaruka looked really good, but didn't get enough really TV time to say anything extra about Zaruka, but she's definitely amazing. And then we saw her get speared by Zarya, something I actually predicted in my predictions. Wow, look at that, go figure. But I did predict that Zarya was going to spear Zaruka, whether it was accidental or purposefully, in this match, and she did. She ended up spearing her again, so it looks like we're going to continue to plant the seeds until Zaruka eventually turns on Zarya, or vice versa, to start most likely a feud for that championship. But it did end with a powerbomb to the outside, taking out Alexa and the rest of the field, the Kabuki Warriors, and then a suicide dive on Charlotte by Roxanne, leading Zaruka getting pinned after getting speared, and then hit with the finisher of Raquel Rodriguez, what is that called, the Tejana Bomb? Yeah, I think that's right. and the Judgment Day actually retained, which I said I could see this happening. I said this was like the second most likely outcome, and I thought that Charlotte and Alexa were going to pick up the win here, so go ahead and move my predictions to 1-1. But the Judgment Day is going to retain, and I think that's just going to continue to happen until we get to the Liv Morgan storyline continuing. But overall, I thought this match was decent. I thought it was pretty good. It's just a little chaotic and hard to follow, but overall, it was interesting. At number 5, we have the Battle Jesus. At number 5, we have the Evolution Battle Royal, where the winner would earn a championship match at Clash in Paris. And this match really didn't deliver very much good wrestling. Like, that's not even why it's here. And there was no surprises. That was like my first gripe with this match. There was no surprises at all. Like, I know AJ and Paige were the big rumors to be coming back in this match, and yeah, I might have fell for at least Paige. I thought Paige was probably coming back, especially with what she said on the podcast recently about her being an unrestricted free agent. But we didn't get anything. We didn't get a Masha Slamovich. We didn't get a TNA crossover. We didn't get a Legend return. We didn't get anything. We just got the people that were announced. So I think that hurt it off the riff. And then another thing that hurt it off the riff was as soon as the match started, we had the culling get thrown out immediately. What kind of is that? Immediately getting thrown out because Izzy Dame, right? Tatum Paxley was the first eliminated, which, okay, whatever, you know, she's not a huge player, but Izzy Dame was just last night wrestling for the NXT North American Women's Championship, trying to win that championship and almost coming close to winning that championship, and the next night she's getting thrown out literally within 5 seconds. That's so stupid. And I'm not even a huge fan of Izzy Dame. If you've watched my weekly awards, you know that I'm not a huge fan of Izzy Dame, but to do her like this in the Battle Royal and throw her out immediately was very, very stupid. But then we also had Kalani Jordan from NXT looking great. We had to have somebody from NXT looking great, so we actually had two ones that looked really good, that being actually three technically. We had Lola Vice in there till the end. Kalani Jordan had a Kofi Kingston style, you know, maneuver where she did a handstand and got back in the ring. The Nikki Bella elimination honestly felt a little weird to me because I felt like the Nikki Bella elimination was going to be a big time thing. It was going to be like, you know, whoever eliminated her was going to start something or maybe use it to elevate themselves, but it really didn't. It didn't help them at all. I think Lash Legend booted her out or Nia Jax threw her out, one or the other. So I don't think that it really did anything for anybody in this match. And then we had our final three being Nia Jax, and I know I said there was no established main eventers in this match, so I wasn't scared, but I forgot about Nia Jax, so I was scared because I thought Nia Jax had a chance of winning this. But Nia did get eliminated, so leave it between Lash Legend and my pick to win this match, Stephanie Vaquer, and they delivered it. Exactly what I said needed to happen happened, and we had Stephanie Vaquer win the Battle Royal, and that's the only reason that this is coming in at 5, because like I said, there wasn't any very great wrestling. I think some people were in there too long, and some people weren't in there long enough, and it just like, it felt a little rushed. I know it's a Battle Royal, it's always going to feel rushed, but it felt very, very rushed, like there was actually like no wrestling at all. But because Stephanie Vaquer won, and we had a couple good sequences with the final, I'd say like final like 6, when we got down to like the 6 or 7, we finally got some actual moves, and that was pretty entertaining. And then of course Stephanie Vaquer winning is going to elevate this match to number 5. So Stephanie Vaquer has a title shot come Clash at Paris, and I couldn't be more excited. Coming in at number 4, we have the WWE Women's Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. Now, this match, I think, did exactly what it needed to do. I think this match was here just to be a kind of passing the torch moment from one of the stars of yesteryear to one of the stars of the next few years. And exactly what it did. It made Tiffany look great. Tiffany actually put out some moves that I haven't seen her do in a while, especially because she's been wrestling Nia Jax so often, and even Jade and some other people like that, to where she doesn't really have the, you know, she can't lift them up for these different moves. She hit an End of Heartache, which is Roderick Strong's old finisher, or Roderick Strong's finisher. Hit an End of Heartache, the suplex backbreaker. That was very interesting. I like that. She hit a picture perfect swanton bomb. That thing was freaking beautiful. I thought she was about to miss it, and she just perfectly timed it. That was amazing. We saw, you know, the regular offense of these two. We had a great Hurricane Rana to the outside off of the apron from Trish Stratus. Trish looked very good for being, of course, most likely past her prime. I think she definitely put up a great fight here. She looked great still, and she made Tiffany look good. There was a couple mess ups, but nothing too severe, nothing that damaged the match too much. And I think that Trish Stratus, this could be Trish Stratus' last match ever. She kind of teased it, but she didn't confirm it. So if it is, then thank you, Trish. You've done great. One of the pillars of women's wrestling. And Tiffany Stratton will continue to carry this into the future. And this was a pretty good match at the end of the day. I think it was a good back and forth between the two. And we saw Tiffany kind of pull out some heelish stuff in this match too, especially kind of pushing the ref away at the end. But overall, this match was pretty good. I'm also behind on predictions, I think. I don't think I said, but I did call Stephanie Valkyrie winning, so that puts me at 2-1, and I did call Tiffany winning, that puts me at 3-1. We've cracked the top 3, and at number 3, I'm going to have Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a no-holds-barred match. This match had a lot of spots. I had to write a lot of them down. First up, we're going to go ahead and start with the trash can spot. The trash can bicycle kick. It was a very cool move. My main problem with it is that when Jade put it on Naomi's head, Naomi immediately fell over and then tried to get back up, and the trash can fell off of her right away, so she put it back on and then stood up and then got kicked. So that was a little goofy. We had a drop kick onto the TV under the announce table, and that looked very deadly. Like, she could have been electrocuted. The commentator said she could have been electrocuted, and she could have been electrocuted. I'm sure it wasn't, I'm sure it was protected. I'm sure it wasn't dangerous, but that looked painful. Looked like it hurt for sure. We had a table bump. It wasn't really anything special. I mean, Naomi ran into Jade with a chair, barely tapped her, and Jade took a bump back through a table. That move was pretty cool. And then the match, of course, ends with a Jaded through the table. Picks her up off the top rope, and Naomi kind of helped her get to the top rope, which, when you see the things, you point them out in your head, especially watching wrestling for as long as I have. You see these things happening. You see them helping and knowing the moves, whatever. But Jaded through the table, and I think that's honestly a great finish too, because that protects Naomi. Like, Naomi literally barely got touched by that table. Like, it took most of the brunt on Jade. But that's how she picked up the win, and I think it's funny too. First of all, I did pick Jade to win this match. It put me at 4-1. But I did say that Naomi could very well lose this match, and as pretty much a joke, I didn't think it was actually going to happen. I said, then later in the night, cash in Money in the Bank and win, and we'll get to that later. For now, this match was very good. I'm going to put it at number 3. I think it might be better than the WrestleMania match. I don't know. I think I'd have to give it a little bit, maybe mull it around a little bit, watch both back to back, and then I could decide which one's better. But I think this has a strong chance at beating their WrestleMania match. I think it was very good, and at the end of the day, it's coming in at number 3. At number 2, we have the match that I thought was going to be the best match of the night, and I predicted to be the best match of the night, between Lyra Valkyria, Becky Lynch, and Bayley in a triple threat for the Women's IC Championship. Now, this match easily should have been the best match of the night because of the chemistry between these 3 women, but it just felt like it was lacking some chemistry that they had in the previous matches when it was just Bayley and Lyra, or Becky and Lyra, I'm sorry. Even Bayley and Lyra, too, they had a pretty good match on Monday Night Raw. But overall, this match was very good. It was very much, I think it had a little bit of the triple threat stigma of having somebody out the ring resting and the other 2 fighting. And, triple threats are always the best when you can have everybody in the ring at the same time fighting. And for a lot of this match, we had Lyra outside the ring, mostly Lyra more than the other ones, outside the ring, while Bayley and Becky fought. Of course, early teaming up to take out Lyra, which was a little weird. But when Lyra did come back in, she hit a crazy leg drop off the top rope onto Bayley, who was going for the rose plant on Becky Lynch. So that was a very cool sequence. That was definitely the spot of this entire match. And exactly what I said was going to happen to finish the match is what happened to finish the match, which was the whole Bayley and Lyra fighting each other and going after each other just for Becky to swoop in at the last second and take them out. As soon as Bayley hit the belly to Bayley, on Lyra, Becky came in, swooped in, grabbed the arms, turned her over, and pinned her with a roll-up, which is pretty much what I said. I said she was going to come in and hit a roll-up after a big move from the other one. So, hey, I pretty much guessed the ending, and I did guess that Becky was going to win. So go ahead and put me at 5-1. I was doing pretty good on the predictions for this one. And this match overall was just very good. It was very fluent. Not a lot of big spots other than the leg drop, but it was very fluent all throughout. It felt pretty good. There was no long, drug out breaks. So I think this match was very good. It didn't steal the show. It definitely got mollywopped by number 1 because number 1 is just amazing, and we'll get into that. But this one's coming at number 2. Now coming in at number 1 is a match that is an instant classic already. This match was absolutely insane. This match was so good. This match eclipsed every other match that these girls have had together. This match was 5-star classic, and that is the Women's World Championship match between Io Sky and Mommy Rhea Ripley. This match had so many different spots, so I'm just going to run through some of my favorites. We had a 619 head scissors from Io Sky. Io Sky kind of going for a 619, stopping, grabbing Rhea and pulling her through the ropes. That was great. We had an amazing DDT, first of all, and Rhea is an underrated seller. I don't think people talk about how good Rhea is at selling, but if you watch Rhea take DDTs or any move that, especially where she lands on her head, she always takes insane bumps and makes it look great. She took a great DDT. It was a great satellite DDT here from Io Sky, and we also saw a great Frankensteiner, reverse Frankensteiner, and Rhea did the same thing, sold just like that because she's landing on her head, and like I said, she takes great bumps when she's landing. She takes great bumps when she's landing on her head. Saw a great combo move from Rhea Ripley when she threw Razor's Edge. First of all, this Razor's Edge looked gruesome. She threw Io, folded Io, like Io almost landed on her neck, and then immediately picks her back up and hits her with the powerbomb. Of course, we had a kick out then by Io. We had a ref bump. Jessica Carr got hit with a drop kick, which I think was a little weird. It felt a little unnecessary because they really didn't use any weapons. Like, I know that they weren't counting when they're outside the ring, so that's like the only reason the ref really needed to be taken out for this spot. But they went outside the ring, they started brawling. Really, like I said, no weapons were used. It looked like Rio was going to hit a Razor's Edge or a powerbomb off of the crates, and then Io reversed, climbed to the very top and hit a crazy crossbody. Rhea looked like she almost missed the carpeted area and hit her head on the concrete. That was very close. That was actually a scary moment, but it was still a very cool move, and I think Rhea's okay. We had a suicide sunset flip to Rhea. Rhea's literally on the second rope, like leaned over, and Io came in, dove between not just like the middle rope or the top rope and the middle rope. Rhea was in there, so she dove between the top rope and Rhea and flipped out and tried to hit a sunset flip, and then of course brought her out, hit the powerbomb on the ground, and then a Spanish fly. There was a crazy Spanish fly off the top rope. Just this match was insane. Even before the shenanigans at the end, this match was absolutely insane. Instant classic between these two women. These two are two of the best, if not the best, women's wrestlers really on the planet. These two are absolutely insane, and they had an amazing match here. And it ended with a Money in the Bank cash-in, which is crazy because I wasn't even thinking about Naomi like cashing in on this match. I was like, there's no chance this happens. If she cashes in, it's going to be on Tiffany or it's going to be on Jade. That's exactly where my mind was at. Even when I made the joke about her losing to Jade and then cashing in, I was talking about the Tiffany and Trish match, not this match. But she comes out, she cashes in, and she wins. She takes out Rhea, and she hits the moonsault on Io to pin Io for the win. And Naomi wins the match she wasn't even in at the end of Evolution. And I'm not even mad about it. I think it was a pretty good booking decision, and it shocked the hell out of me. It shocked the hell out of a lot of people because, like I said, we were always looking at her as the SmackDown division cashing in over there, not the Raw. And it was a big swerve. She came out. I thought there was no way she was going to actually win. Honestly, when she came out, I was like, we're going to see Jade. We're going to see somebody, maybe a return. We're going to see someone to stop Naomi, but no one came out to stop Naomi. Naomi just ended up taking out the two and winning the match. And I guess Rhea was going to win this match, so I guess by default you got to give me a loss here, which puts my predictions at the end at 5-2. I did very good at predicting this pay-per-view, I'd say. But I did not see Jade coming out to cash this in. And now this could lead perfectly, I guess, into Jade versus Naomi Part 3 at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, because Jade, I guess they keep saying Jade has to pick, she keeps saying she has to pick her brand, but they could, null and void that, and she could go to Raw and challenge Naomi. So we could see a run back, or we could see somebody else challenge, and now that Stephanie's holding the chance, and she's the one in that Raw, we could potentially see if Naomi holds up until Clash in Paris. Looks like the match will be Naomi versus Stephanie now. Honestly, think I would rather see Io or Rhea against Stephanie for a big title match like that, but Naomi is just as good, and I know we'll get all these variations of matches between these four down the line somewhere. And just this match was insane, instant classic between these two women, and then Naomi comes out to steal the spotlight, which I think is perfect for this character. These two are having a barn burner, and she comes out at the end and ruins it and takes the title. Not ruining it in that sense, but ruining it in the sense of, stealing the win from these two. And this match was absolutely insane. A great way to finish this pay-per-view and contender for match of the year. Alright, that's all I got for you. Like I said, there was definitely some downs. Not too low down on this pay-per-view, just kind of a little bit down, but the ups, especially the main event, was up. And this whole pay-per-view was very good. I'm glad I was excited for this pay-per-view because it delivered, and that's all I got for you. So if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and leave in the comments. Tell me what your favorite match from Evolution was. Tell me what your rankings would be if they're different than mine. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
This happened if I had real tough love, I'm bad at this, and I'm bad for this.
Narcissistic tendencies, I don't care about no one else. Narcissistic tendencies, I'm low, so set me on the shelf. Few people ever have my back, yeah, there ain't no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, Bianca was the special guest referee. I didn't even mention that.